Okay, here I am live from the studios of Foreman Solutions. This is Benj Foreman. Let me put my screen down here. I am live on YouTube. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. This is actually my first live stream that I've done. So I figured I'd try something new this week. So how's everybody doing? I've been busy the past few weeks doing some camping and doing some house repair. So that's probably why you haven't seen me on YouTube for the past 2 weeks. I've been kind of pretty busy, and I've been working on something that I want to share with you. I want to give to you actually. If you stick around to the end, watch the end of this video. I will give it to you. Give you a free link for a download of a project that I've been working on. But in this video, I wanted to talk about a question. Should I buy a home in Boise in 2020? And to answer that, I thought, well, let me just give you a few stats, and then I'll give you some of my thoughts on what I think you should do, or what I think is maybe a good answer, a good possible answer to the question: should you buy a home in Boise in 2020? First of all, before I give you a few stats, let me just say this: do you have a good reason to buy a home? Do you have a good enough reason to buy a home? Do you have a family that's growing maybe, and you need a bigger house, or perhaps you need a downsize and so you need to buy a smaller home? Or do you not own a home yet and you want to get into the Boise housing market? And honestly, that's probably the majority of you guys that are watching this, or that will watch this. You probably are just getting out of college, maybe just a few years out of college, and you're starting to think about now buying a home. Is this the right time? Or should you wait maybe for the market to go down? Maybe you can get a home for cheaper, right? I mean, that's what we all want. Maybe that's better. So should you wait and buy a home when the market goes down? Well, the obvious answer to that is yes. If you know when the market's going down, you should wait. But the true answer is none of us have a crystal ball. So none of us knows when the market will go down or if it will go down. We've been on a continuous increase in prices for the past, I don't know how many years, 8-10 years. So will that continue indefinitely? Probably not. Obviously, the markets kind of cycle like this. But when will it go down? Who knows? Let me give you a few stats, though, from this past month. So I looked up house prices in July. And so here's just a couple stats that I have. July 2020 in Ada County. So that includes Boise, I guess Eagle, Star, and Cuna, I think, is still in Ada County. 1,384 homes, single-family homes sold just in June. The median price, that means half of the houses were above this and half of the houses were below this. But the median price of homes sold here in Ada County was $384,995. The average price, so taking how many was it? 1,384 homes, averaging the sold price of all of those out. The average price of all the homes sold in July, so just this past month, was $433,797. So if you look at the stats, though, it's interesting because we are clearly seeing a continuous rise in prices. May, well, let's go June. June, 1,100 homes sold, median price $372,000. So the median price in July was 384, in June is 372. In May, 359 was the median price, 359,000. April was a little higher, 368. March, 363. But the average price of homes has been going up continuously over the past month after month for the past several years. The average price home in July of last year, so July 2019, was $384,000. So the average home of July 2020 was $433,000. July 2019, 384,000. So you can see there's a pretty big increase in prices over the past year. Maybe to put the numbers a slightly different way, the number of homes sold in July of 2020 under $250,000 was 28. In other words, they sold 28 homes under $250,000 just this past month. A year ago, so July 2019, there were 107 homes sold under 250,000, and a year before that, so July 2018, there were 238 homes that were sold for under $250,000. So you see a trend. There's hardly any homes available today that are in the Boise, in Ada County, and in the Treasure Valley in general. Hardly any homes under $250,000. Now, let me put the numbers just another different way. Last year, I was looking for an investment property, and I could find a sizable number of homes for $250,000. And I even put several offers down on several homes, and even had one home that my offer was accepted, but ended up letting that one go for various reasons. In any case, this summer, so 2020, nothing. I'm not seeing any homes for $250,000. The homes that last year were selling for $250,000, this year are selling for $275,000, $280,000. So that's a $25,000 increase in starter home, a price increase for starter homes. So just think of it this way. $25,000. If last year that house sold for $250,000, this year it sells for $275,000. $25,000 is $2,000 a month. So every month, starter home prices are increasing by $2,000. So the question you can ask yourself is, number one, if you wait a year and these house prices continue to rise at the pace that they're rising today, will you be able to afford one next year? Are you getting a $2,000 a month raise at your job? Or think of it this way. If you have $25,000 sitting in your bank right now, that's 10% of $250,000. Can you make $25,000 over the next year on that $25,000, which is theoretically what you could make if you invested that into a house? And that's the beauty about investing in a home, is you don't have to own 100% of the house. You own 10% of the house, but you get to keep 100% of the profit. So if you invest $25,000 today, you buy a house for $250,000. Next year, you sell it for $275,000. You get to keep that $25,000 gain, even though you only put down $25,000. So that's 100% profit that you make. Now, all of the numbers, those are all theoretical, and they sound simple on paper and in theory. But in practice, obviously, it's more complicated than that. So getting back to the question, should I buy a home today in Boise? Well, definitely the trend in the market today is that the house prices are rising, and they're rising rapidly. As I said, starter homes rising on average about $2,000 a month over the course of a year. So that's a pretty steep price increase. Well, what's the forecast? Got a couple other numbers for you here. The Veros Real Estate Marketing Solutions, which is a website that deals with all kinds of real estate analytics, they came out with a forecast. Every quarter they come out with a forecast. Guess which housing market is in the #1 slot in all of the United States? You guessed it, Boise, Idaho, where we are right now, right? Boise, Idaho. We are set to be the #1 performing housing market in the United States in 2020. Now, back in March, the first quarter, they were predicting, this is back at the height of the COVID pandemic, which some would argue maybe we're at the height again. I don't know. We won't get into that. But back in March, at the height of the sort of COVID crisis, when it took everybody by surprise, Veros Real Estate Marketing Solutions, is that their name? Veros Real Estate Solutions, predicted that the Boise housing market would appreciate on average 7.6% over the next year. And they were in the number one slot back in the first quarter. We're now in the second quarter and they've revised their numbers. The Boise housing market is predicted to rise now 9.3% over the next year. So they've increased their prediction. They've increased it by almost 2%. Boise's still in the number one slot for the best performing housing market in the United States. So should you buy a house here in Boise now in 2020? The answer is if you have a good reason to buy one, you want to get into the Boise housing market, you need to downsize or upgrade, get a bigger house. Waiting, I think, is going to lead to your detriment because the house prices are increasing at such a rate that if you wait another year, another 2 years, and we continue to see this trend that we've been seeing for the past several years, you might not be able to afford it anymore. I mean, again, did you get a 10% increase in your salary over this past year, right? Are you making 10% more this year than you made last year? Probably not. And if you didn't, then you have 10% less buying power this year than you did last year as it relates to the Boise housing market. So should you get into the Boise housing market? My answer is yes. Now's the time to buy. Nobody has a crystal ball, obviously. So none of us knows for sure. Perhaps the housing market could go down. But again, and I've said this in my videos before, one of the reasons why the Boise housing market is so strong and why it's not the same situation that we saw back in 2008, it's that the inventory is really low here in Boise. So we have a very high demand, but also a low inventory, right? A low supply. So that's basic economics. Low supply, high demand leads to increasing prices. What we saw in 2008 was not that. We had high demand, but also high inventory. So there were lots of houses available at a certain price, but also high demand. So that created sort of this bubble, which eventually all it took was the proverbial needle. Somebody popped the balloon and it all exploded. So we're not in that situation now. I think we're going to continue to see an upward trend in housing prices. The numbers reflect that. Month after month, we're seeing record number of houses sold. We're seeing record number of people moving here. I'll add to that, and I'm almost done here. I'll add to that there are a lot of people that are wanting to move out of the bigger cities, especially now that the COVID pandemic took everybody by surprise. People are wanting to get out of the big cities. They want to get out of New York. We don't have that many New Yorkers coming, but they want to get out of California. They want to come to a smaller, quote, metropolis, smaller metropolitan area. And Boise is a great option. And they have high buying power when they come with their California money. So all that to say, I think we are going to continue to see an increase in house prices over the next year. If Veros Solutions is correct and the house prices do go up by 9.3%, and you wait to buy a house next year, you will have 9.3% less buying power than you do right now. So that's my market update, market analysis. If you're interested in chatting more about it, and obviously that's general. If you're interested in a particular neighborhood, I'd like to buy a house here, or I'd like to sell a house here, maybe buy one in another neighborhood. I'd love to chat about that with you, and maybe do a bit of research in particular neighborhoods, and maybe try and find a particular type of a house. Not all houses are worth the same, obviously. Not all of them sell for the same amount, and there's a lot of factors involved in the housing market. So if that's you and you'd like to chat more about it, send me an email. I'll put my email down in the description box below, benjforeman@gmail.com. I'll put it down there below, along with this link to this is the project that I just finished. If you are looking to move to Boise, don't move without downloading this. This is the essential guide to buying a home in Boise, Idaho. I put a ton of work into this. It's a 40-page guide on all the different Boise neighborhoods, schools, things to do here in Boise, links to all kinds of different things, places of interest, the whole buying process. I explain all of that. I put a ton of work, some general facts about Boise, a little bit about myself, and yeah. So like here, for instance, did you know that Idaho has 93,000 miles of rivers and streams? Well, get the guy to know that. And did you know that we have the largest wilderness in all of the United States, the Frank Church Wilderness, 2.3 million acres of backcountry. It's all in here, the essential guide to buying a home. Click on the link down below for free, right? And this is yours for free. Download it, have a look at it. Tons of information in there. And if I don't answer your questions, send me an email. I'd love to chat with you and connect with you. So do that. Thanks for watching this stream, this live stream, or if you're watching it, the recorded version. And I'll end with my signature sign off. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you do both of those things, I'll see you in the next one.